As Moses was praying, Moses got tired. But you know why Moses didn't quit? Because he had Aaron and he had Hur. Because there will come a point in your life when you are going to want to throw in the towel. And you need someone to come along and say, hold your chin up. Don't give up. Focus on Christ. I tell you, this past week, something stuck with me. And this is one of the things I love. I love it when you're reading your devotions and then it keeps coming up throughout the whole week. Yeah, that's when you kind of know that God's in the process. And so this week I was reading my devotions and I'm doing the book of Ephesians. And I just got stuck on Ephesians chapter 6, verses 18 through 20. And it came back up on Wednesday night for our prayer group and our little table talk, which I just want to give a big plug for this. This upcoming Wednesday on our table talk series, Dr. Haliani will be teaching for us. And so I want you to come and hear Dr. Haliani talk about worship. But in Ephesians 6, verse 18, here's what it says. Paul says, and pray in the Spirit in all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the saints. Pray also for me, that whenever I open my mouth, words may be given me so that I will fearlessly make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains. Pray that I may declare it fearlessly as I should. I thought about this. Here was Paul, the Apostle Paul, the man who was left for dead, the man who stood before King Felix, the man who never had any doubt, any questions, the man who was just so strong in being a missionary, going out proclaiming the good news. But Paul said, I can't do what I'm doing if you don't pray for me. Pray for me. Pray that I can do this. Pray that I have the strength. Pray that I have the courage. Paul was basically saying, if I don't have this, I'm weak. And I need you to pray. Paul said, I need assistance. And I'll tell you, you will find yourself at points in your lives where your brakes are out. To where you'll be broken down, where you will feel like you are at the bottom of the barrel, where you feel like giving up. And you're going to ask your question, where will the victory come from? Well, we know the victory comes from the Lord. I lift my eyes up to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. But here's a problem. Sometimes I forget to look up to the hill. Sometimes I get so wore out, so tired, so downtrodden that I forget to look to God. And I need other people in my life who will come and take my hand, my face, and look and say, Barry, look up there. Barry, have you prayed? Barry, don't give up. We need those people in our lives because our victory comes from the Lord, but we need other people in our life. And that's why in our faith, there is a vertical dimension to our faith. It is us and God. But we can't do this without this, the horizontal. God gave us the church for a reason. He gave us the other believers for a reason, because we need one another. So this morning, what I want to do, 3 things I want us to learn. First, I want us to learn that we have responsibilities that we need to do, that God expects us to be active in our faith. Second of all, I want you to see that we need God, we need each other. And third, we need to be reminded of that because we will forget it. We will forget. So we've been going over the book of Exodus, and just a quick review. Remember, the Exodus has begun. Egypt is in the rearview mirror. They have faced crisis after crisis right out of the gate. They got in the wilderness. There was nothing to eat. There was no water to drink. And they looked to Moses and said, Moses, did you bring us out here just to kill us? And then the real crux of the issue came, and we don't have it on the screen, but in Exodus 17 verse 7, they asked the question, is God amongst us or not? And I think, is there a more honest question that we could ask? When things are going bad, when we're hungry, when we're tired, when we're weary, and we feel like everything is just falling apart, do we not ask that same question? Is God really here? Is God really doing anything? Is God helping? And Moses answered that with a resounding yes. You're hungry, here's manna from heaven. Boom. You're thirsty, here's water from a rock. And oh, God answered all these prayers. Now you would think at that point, everything is great, right? Everything is wonderful. You got your rear end fixed, the truck is going, mother-in-law's in the back, and everybody's happy. You think it's all fixed? No. Boom, brakes go out. When one thing gets fixed, something else always tends to go wrong. And that's what happens here. So look at verse 8 of your text. It says, the Amalekites came and attacked the Israelites at Rephidim. Now think about this. They had just had all these miracles, and then all of a sudden, the Amalekites came and they started getting attacked. Now this was not simply just like a little bitty skirmish. The Amalekites were awful people, and they fought dirty. They were cowards. In fact, Moses will describe this in Deuteronomy 25. Look at this, verse 17. Remember what the Amalekites did to you along the way when you came out of Egypt. When you were weary and worn out, they met you on your journey and cut off all who were lagging behind. They had no fear of God. When the Lord your God gives you rest from all the enemies around you in the land he is giving you to possess as inheritance, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. Do not forget. You see that they were getting all those lagging behind. Do y'all know when you're traveling with a bunch of folks, you know who lags behind? Grandma. Little kids. It's those who can't keep up, those who are weak. So think about this. The Amalekites were coming, and they were cutting them off, attacking them, killing them. And so here was the Israelites, and they're like, our people are dying. We've just gone through without water, without food, and now people are dying, being attacked by this group of ravaging people. What do we do? Well, it came time to take a stand. But the question is, were they ready for this? This was going to be their first armed combat. Okay, don't forget this. They were recently released slaves. They were not used to fighting these battles. Give a sword, they're like, what's this? They had no clue what to do about this. But they're going to have to fight this desert army on their own turf. Were they ready for it? Didn't matter, because the fight had come to them. But here's the big thing. God is going to deliver them, but not like he did before. This time, there's not going to be a devastating plague just to wipe them out. This time, there's not going to be a giant wall of water to come crashing on them. No, this time he says, you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to grab your sword, and you're going to have to get in the battle. You're going to have to get under the truck, get your hands dirty, and fix the brakes. I will help you, but you're going to partner with me. And what God is doing is God is taking them from the point of being saved to being sanctified, to where you're going from being rescued slaves to becoming the people of God. Like we said in the past, when it comes to being saved, there is nothing you can do to save yourself. We are saved by grace. It is all that Christ has done for us. We just receive it as a gift. As a gift. But when we move on to become Christ-like, God expects us to put some effort into it. Like I said this morning, it's not like you just automatically become holy, like there's like a, and you're holy. No, God redeems you. He washes you. He purifies you. But then he says, now, go to church. Read your Bible. Pray. Forgive. Do all these things. I will help you, but you got to get involved. And notice what he says to Moses here. Look at verse 9. Moses said to Joshua, choose some of our men and go out to fight the Amalekites. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill, the staff of God in my hands. So Joshua fought the Amalekites as Moses had ordered, and Moses and Aaron and Hur went to the top of the hill. As long as Moses held up his hands, the Israelites were winning, but whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. Now look, he says, first of all, Joshua, get your army ready. And I love, probably Joshua's like, what? Me? You're going to make me fight? But he's ready for this. Joshua's the one who's going to get his hands dirty. He's down here in the valley. But where did Moses go? Up on the hill. You see, what was going on down here will be impacted by what takes place up here. And notice what it says. Moses had the staff in his hand, but not just the staff. Did you notice what it was called here? The staff of God. Now think about that. Remember in Exodus 3, when Moses was just a shepherd and God called him? And then he looks at Moses and Moses said, I can't do any of this. And God says, what's that in your hand? And he says, it's a staff. Throw it on the ground. Boom, became a snake. And from that point on, that staff has parted the Red Sea. That staff has bloodied the Nile. That staff has been used by God for all these great things. And so here, this is the staff of God. And Moses has it. And so when Moses was up there, Moses is going to lift up this staff. And every time he lifts it up, they start to win. When he lowers it, they start to lose. Now, Moses is impacting what's going down here. Now, that does not negate all the hard work and all the battling that Joshua is doing. Joshua is fighting. But what Joshua is doing is being impacted by what has taken place way up here when Moses is praying. See, I go back to what Paul said. Paul was the missionary. Paul was going out and doing the work. But he said, I can't do this if you're not praying for me. I need you to have your arms lifted up. I need God involved with what I'm doing. Now, that's not an excuse for me to be lazy with this, but I can't do it without this. Do y'all understand that? It's kind of like this. What do we want to accomplish as a church? Y'all remember our mission? To be Christ-like and leading generations to be like Christ, right? We want to go out there and we want to make disciples of Jesus Christ. And I'll tell you, the easy thing for us to do is to sit here and say, okay, we're all just going to sit here and pray for that. That's great. We need to do that. But you know what else you need to do? Go out there and talk to people. Go out there like Bethany did. Talk to the girl on the train. I don't know, there's a train in Granbury. Or the trolley. Go to the Granbury trolley and talk to them. But go out there, talk to your friends, tell these people, say, hey, let me tell you about Christ. Let me show you. Go serve, go help, go do these things. But don't do it by your own power. You need the Moses to lift up the staff and to pray. And here's the part that I love about this, is that as Moses was praying, Moses got tired. I love this verse. Let's go to Exodus chapter 17, verse 12. It says, when Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held up his hands up, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hands remained steady till sunset. So Joshua overcame the Amalekite army with the sword. I love that image. I kind of get Moses kind of like holding it up like this. And then every time he started getting tired, it started going down a little bit. And remember, every time it got lowered, he would start to lose. Up high, they're winning. Down the low, it's kind of like this. And some of y'all who are younger may not remember this. But for y'all who lived before cable, y'all remember when you had the rabbit ears? And you had to pick it up, and you had to hold it, and your brother was sitting there, and you say, okay, lift your left leg up, turn around, hold a Coke in one hand, and just kind of stand there, put your leg down. No, put it back up. That's what was happening here. And after a while, Moses got tired, and he could have quit at any point. But you know why Moses didn't quit? Because he had Aaron and he had Hur. Y'all, I'm telling you, we need each other. Because there will come a point in your life when you are going to want to throw in the towel. You're going to be tired and say, I'm done with all this. I'm fed up with it. And you need someone to come along and say, hold your chin up. Don't give up. Focus on Christ. When you feel like you can't pray any longer, you need someone to come along and say, here, let's pray right now, you and me. And they will pray for you. One of the things I love is I love a singing church. Because I'll tell you, there are days when I don't feel like singing. Some days I'm not allowed to sing. But days when I don't feel like singing, and what gets me going is when I hear other voices all around me, and they start praising God, and pretty soon that praise of God is contagious. And I'm being lifted up for the throne. We need people around us praying for us, people inspiring us, people lifting up our arms. And so I would ask you this: who is the Aaron and Hur in your life?